It's William Wagener. We're doing an interview with Larry Mendoza.
Let me
We're going to give you a public defender who's going to waive your jury trial, and then you're going to be right back in front of me. And I'm
let's
thinking,
let's
this
review.
this is like Russia. This is
Let me
Soviet
research my
Union.
mind here on the Santa Barbara criminal court system. We have Brian Cota doing the marijuana dispensary case, four co-defendants. He has the first one testify in a preliminary hearing. Why would you give up your right? And you don't do that. The other three defendants that are sitting in jail paying felony bails, felony attorneys. And that's the problem with this. Everybody's making money because even though they're going to drop the charges, they're telling you that these are felonies at this point and you're paying 10 times the bail amounts. So these three co-defendants are sitting in there. There's a preliminary hearing. And Brian Cota, on the record in the Santa Barbara News Press, says that if these three co-defendants were taken to trial, they would be found not guilty. So why is the district attorney telling us that these people don't have proper charges, that he legally charged them? So now I went to the state and looked at the Judicial Council. The Judicial Council has data where it keeps on how many charges are felonies, how many are dropped to misdemeanors, and what's going on. 1/3 of Santa Barbara's charges that come in as felonies are either dismissed or disappear. We're going to have to wait up here and catch up with... I'm totally lost what to do right now. Here we go. We have... Do you know the difference between a Superior Court trial judge and the criminal division in California Superior Court? Criminal division is where you are arraigned and you're held over and decide if you're going to have a preliminary hearing. The trial court would be the varsity judges, and they don't get involved with the preliminary hearing because you're not legally charged in a felony until you're bound over for trial after a preliminary hearing. Now, in a misdemeanor case, there is no need for a preliminary hearing. You go directly to trial. So in Santa Barbara, we have a city councilman who's there for a violation of probation, alcohol involved. He's also a prominent realtor. His case gets moved right up to Brian Hill, which is a trial court judge, superior trial court judge. He's the varsity judge, without being handled in the lower criminal division. He does not have the jurisdiction. Even though he has full jurisdiction, the superior court trial judge does not handle those cases at that point. Now, the injustices don't just happen to men, women, white, black, child, Hispanic. It happens everywhere. In the juvenile case with Ricardo Morse, he is a 14-year-old youth brought up to Superior Court to be tried as an adult. In the meantime, the district attorney issues immunity for a 13-year-old who should be a co-defendant, except for he's in juvenile court, and you can't publicize and bring that up. You cannot politically create fear so that you can get budget money issued to you. So Ricardo, I shouldn't even use their names because they are juveniles. I don't know what to do here. I'm totally lost. Yeah. We'll start. Where I left off was that, are you aware of a trial judge, a Superior Court trial judge does not hear a preliminary hearing? Because you're not, in a felony, you're not bound over for trial until you finish the preliminary hearing. So the trial judge doesn't bother with the lower end. He's worried about trials, murder trials. Right. Well, in Santa Barbara, if you're Judge Brian Hill, you have John Thine, the realtor, who was running for city council at the time, arrested for a probation violation, alcohol, a DUI probation that he had. And where did he appear? Judge Brian Hill's courtroom. Ricardo Morse, a 14-year-old, at the arraignment, the special deal to bring a 14-year-old to Superior Court was canceled, was not allowed. And he went 2 trials, 2 preliminary hearings, and nobody has done an appeal for this 14-year-old boy.
That's why that group is formed down there. That
Padres.
Padres.
Padres, Parents Against.
So that hasn't gone to trial yet.
No, actually, he's sitting there, and he received a second charge. He has 2 strikes.
He's been sitting in jail now, what, 5 months, 6 months?
He's in prison, or he's in a juvenile camp now. It's been 2007. That's since he's been there. We have 4 defendants that were just on a hung jury because finally one juror said, regardless of what you presented here today, you don't have a legal case. You may have the right to do that, and you might have to go develop a legal case, and then I'll come back and prosecute him. But today, one juror said this is unjust and it has to stop. And that's what needs to be done in Santa Barbara.
A juror said that?
One juror said this is not going to go through.
Or a judge?
No, juror. Oh, no, the judges don't. No. The judge is we have a judge, Clifford Anderson, who is dealing with what they call the nun scammer case. Okay. He goes on the record and says that one of the defendant is being charged by a local businessman, and his wife comes to the courtroom and says, "But we weren't cheated. You're charging this woman wrongfully. We were not cheated." And the judge makes a statement that this woman would say anything to protect the defendant. Now, first off, he
The
cannot.
judge says that?
Judge Clifford Anderson.
Then he's not allowed to testify.
He is not allowed to testify.
Was that recorded on the court record by the court reporter?
I'm sure it was. Now, here's the other one. Judge Anderson allows the Quades. They didn't show up for their felony arraignment, but it was a voluntary felony arraignment. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I've never had a voluntary felony arraignment, which comes out.
Voluntary
felony arraignment.
Felony
For
arraignment.
Randy Quaid and his wife, the actor.
I've never heard of this.
Legally, any felony, you must be present with your lawyer. Your lawyer can't. In a misdemeanor, your lawyer can represent you, but in a felony, everybody must be present.
Voluntary
In other words, he didn't
felony.
want to issue a bench warrant.
So he didn't issue a bench
So he
warrant.
didn't issue a bench warrant because it was voluntary. They had 2 or 3 shots at this, and then finally he issued a bench warrant.
And so Quaid didn't show up?
Quaid didn't show up a couple times.
Did he finally issue a bench warrant?
We finally issued a bench warrant, and it all got worked out. And it was time
All
served.
got worked out. What does that mean?
I have a 3 years prison suspended sentence. Mr. Quaid, it was time served. I don't know what to say.
Is justice for sale? Is justice for sale?
You want for sale? We have a mortgage broker from here in Santa Maria that was arrested for Lompoc. If he returned $5 million, he got 5 years off his sentence. Or no, it was $1 million. For every $1 million he returned, he received 5 years off his 30-year sentence.
Was that the guy that stole the money to pay for his wife's medical treatment or something?
No, I have to get the name to be correct on that one.
Well, we'll let that one go. Anyway, you saw enough, so you're angry about the lack of accountability, and that brought you to digging into the pension funds that all these fat judges and their court reporters and their assistants, they all get this county pension thing.
Correct.
And it's a pretty fat pension file.
It's
and it looks like the money from the documents you're showing me, it looks like they're averaging things, telling us we need to raise taxes to contribute. How much does the employer of Santa Barbara contribute out of their pension? How much dollars?
Right now, what we have is the Santa Barbara District Attorney, Probation Department. I'm missing one. Santa District Attorney, Probation Department, Public Defender's Office. For every dollar I pay you for salary, I pay 50 cents into your benefits.
50 cents.
So 1/3 of the taxpayer money is not going to providing service to the county. 1/3 of these values is not going forward to providing service in the department it's designated to. That's how I looked into it. Then I saw some numbers and I started listening. We had a 20-year average investment return on the Santa Barbara County Employees Retirement System of 7.6%. 20-year average. Now we had a value in
Which chart is that?
it'll show the 20 years. It'll have a breakdown every double digit 15, 16, 18% returns per year.
So where's the money disappearing to?
Well, that's when you get off site with Wall Street, and then you go to a hedge fund. Now we just did a new banking bill, and we're all supposed to feel protected.
Are you getting this? Are you picking up on this? I hope this isn't too abstract for you. Go ahead.
This new banking bill. I'm looking on Wall Street one day, and I'm looking at the auditing firms to see how many have had charges pressed against them.
Right.
But I'm noticing that all the auditing firms are being. You have to sign up and say they're representing me, but they're representing me offshore. So this is before the banking bill is finalized. Now this is just common sense, and I know I'm a little old to be saying that common sense, but you said so everybody's signing up for offshore accounting. So what does the finance banking bill does? It says you can do everything you were doing in the United States, but you have to do it offshore, and we can't touch you. So now you have hedge funds where the money goes in, but you don't know who belongs to the hedge funds. So the money goes in as government money, aka pensions, and comes out. We don't know because it's never left. It's never been returned back to the public. Now in 2000, there was 4 classifications of investments that pensions could do and 4 classifications that they could not do. So prior to the mortgage scandal, what do you think got changed and the classification opened up so that the pension funds went into that classification and they all simultaneously lost money?